Now, on Tuesday, the US blacklisted two ex-Lebanese ministers over their ties with Hezbollah, which Washington brands as a terrorist organization. A group allied to Hezbollah responded this Wednesday, saying imposing punitive measures on its senior members was like placing sanctions on the entire country. The move comes as the US continues to push Lebanon to form a new government and implement much-needed reforms. This as tensions between Hezbollah and Israel continue to run high along the border. For analysis on this story, let's bring in Sanam Shantyaei from our International Affairs Desk. She's also the host of Middle East Matters on France 24. Sanam, the formation of a new government in Lebanon doesn't appear to have eased tensions with the neighbouring Israel.
Certainly not, Claire. And on this particular occasion, both Israel and even the US appear to be echoing the sentiments of the people of Lebanon, albeit for different reasons. You know, Lebanese are saying that these changes are rather superficial. They're merely a facade, that the new people that we're seeing in the government are actually very much cut from the same cloth. And there is concern that the endemic corruption will continue as a result of this rather intricate sectarian power-sharing system that we're seeing. Because under this system, the very different religious minorities need to approve the new government lineup. And so the new Prime Minister, Mustafa Adib, for example, had to get the green light from none other than Iran-backed group Hezbollah. That's an example. And so that's exactly what the Israelis and the Americans have a problem with, especially at a time of increased tensions with this militant group. So what the Americans are doing is imposing these sanctions that you spoke about moments ago, and they want to isolate Hezbollah and they want to curb its influence in the region. And the Israelis, for their part, are actually going as far as threatening military confrontation. Claire, we're talking about war here. Now, this is according to a top Israeli general that I spoke to earlier, and I'd like us to take a very quick listen to a very small segment of that interview, if we can.
I believe that this is behind the corner. I believe that sooner or later they will make a mistake, conduct a terror event against us, either from the Lebanese border or from the Golan Heights, or even overseas, as they did in the past against Israeli or Jewish targets. And that will be the trigger for a military confrontation between Israel and Hezbollah. In that case, the Lebanese military forces should stay out of the picture because we are not running after them. And after we take Hezbollah out of the game, the Lebanese military forces can come, take over Lebanon, and bring Lebanon to the Lebanese.
There you have it, Claire. Very strong words from General Nitzan Nouriel, some 14 years after that full-blown war between the two sides, which only lasted 34 days. And it really appears, and this is interesting, that the Israeli side is very much strengthened and empowered, and it feels like it can threaten Hezbollah with its military might, potentially because the militant group is actually currently overstretched because it does have a lot of manpower in Syria. I want to leave on a note, whatever happens, this is of course the last option that we want to be looking at, because the war that happened in 2006, it left over 1,000 Lebanese civilians dead. It destroyed the country's infrastructure, and of course it left over 1 million people displaced.
All right, thank you very much, Sanam.